Welcome to Ascended Warrior, Soul Codes for a Shifting World. This is your sacred space to awaken, align, and rise in your purpose. So let's begin. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Ascended Warrior. I am your host, Chris Alicia, and I wanted to talk about another event that's really, multiple events that are really affecting the energy of Earth at this time and reframe it through a soul lens. So there has been a lot of global events recently where people are dying in mass. We've had the giant earthquake in Russia, the fires that they're having in Arizona that we also had in LA in the US. Sea levels are changing. The climate is changing. Apparently, July 2025 was marked the hottest month on record. Period. We only have 2 years left to stay within the 1.5 Celsius carbon budget before we surpass the Paris Climate Agreement. So the changes that are happening right now, not just big disasters like the earthquake in Russia or the tidal wave that came from that, or the mega fires. There's a lot of rumblings out there about volcanoes erupting that have been dormant for a long time. And what it is that we are feeling as humans. Earth is she's not a passive critter. When Earth wants your attention, she is going to get your attention. So these shifts that we have been going through for 20, 30 years, which are 100% escalating, are making sure that they come to everyone's attention, whether it's through natural disasters, whether it's through man-made accidents. The COVID coming through was another huge one. The Earth is changing. It is shifting. It is going through its evolutionary cycle, and it is causing multiple fold things to occur. Firstly is the shifting of the ground itself. The Earth is becoming hotter in certain areas. The poles are shifting. They are realigning. She is essentially stretching out her limbs. Think of Earth as a being, as a human, or much higher than that, as a soul, as a light being, stretching out after this meditative slumber that she's been in for thousands of years, waiting for humanity to get ready for the ascension. She has been holding us. She has been grounding in our energy and allowing us to have these soul lessons and these soul journeys and constantly come back and incarnate on her surface to wreak havoc and learn what we want to learn. But now she is awakening. She's stretching out because we are not the only beings ascending on this planet. She is ascending. The ascension is a totality of energies, not just of human souls. So you're seeing her movement and her shifting to realign with her own ascension process. Now, the other thing that this is doing, this change, and what it is doing, is it is allowing humans to leave. It is allowing souls to go back home to energy, to source, to God, whatever you want to call it, and not be physically incarnated during this time of change, during this time of during this deep breath for both Earth and humans. Now, this great exodus, and really calling it a soul exodus, is fair. There are thousands and thousands of souls that have been leaving Earth in mass because they do not want to be here at this time. And I said it in the first episode, that is not something to insult. That's not a diss on those souls. Every soul is journeying at its own level. Those souls have reached the level they needed to reach. They have decided to leave Earth to go through their transition in a softer place back home and source energy, while the souls that are here physically have agreed to be here to ground in the energy and go through the shift in physical form. Everyone has their purpose and their journey. It's just different ways of going through it. But it is important to recognize that this, what feels like a breakdown in the physical structure of Earth, like this illusion that we've destroyed Earth and that she's dying, is just, it doesn't resonate with me at all. Quite frankly, Earth can survive us. If she really wanted us gone, we would be gone. She is evolving. She's evolving as she is meant to, and so are we. So please don't give in to the fear of the end of days or these apocalyptic events. That's not to say that more souls won't continue to leave. And in fact, there have been many prophets throughout history that have talked about the time of change and souls leaving in mass. One of my favorites, and that's a weird transition, one of my favorite guys who talks about the apocalypse is Edgar Cayce. I talk about him always. One of my awakening moment was through Edgar Cayce's information. So he's obviously somebody that meant a lot to me. And Edgar Cayce was known as the sleeping prophet. He was a Christian man, very religious, did not believe in reincarnation or any of that spiritual, any of the more spiritual things. He followed Christian doctrine. But when he would go into a meditative state and he was asked questions, he would provide information that, one, he didn't remember saying, and two, was completely outside of his own belief structure. So for years, he would go into this meditative state. That's why he was called the sleeping prophet, because he had no memory of these events. And he would have people ask him questions. And some of the questions that he talked about are ones that I want to share because it's really important when we're talking about this great exodus of souls and the vibrations of Earth changing. I mean, her magnetic pulse is changing. There's no denying that she is shifting, but it's the cause of it and the implications of it that we reframe as spiritual beings. And Edgar Cayce really did talk about this several times throughout his readings. So one of the things he talked about was Earth as a learning ground. And I definitely touch on this, but I want to make sure I come back around to really explain what I mean by that. So when I talk about source, when I talk about souls when we're not incarnated, I call that home. It's also called life between lives. Many different religions have many different names for it. You can call it anything that you resonate with it, but it's when we are not in physical form. I call it home because that's our true state of being. This is temporary. I can last, I don't know, 80 to 100 years if I really feel like hanging in there for that. It's a blink of an eye in the existence of our souls. So what does our soul home look like? That is what I call life between lives or home. So when we decide as souls, think of us as this beautiful light beings, we make a decision to come down to Earth, to jump into this wonderful skin suit and have awesome experiences as a human. Why do we do that? Now, one of the things that confuses me the most about several different religions is the lack of purpose for coming into physical form, the lack of intent. It almost feels accidental when you read some of the religious texts talking about like, oh, well, you know, God chose to send you here, ask no questions, tell no lies, that kind of thing. I don't resonate with that. When we come here, we are here to learn. It's like going to a graduate school. We are home in our soul form, and we are going through a syllabus of this wonderful place we call Earth or super college, and we're picking out what is it we want to learn in this next incarnation. All right, I did okay in this 101 class over here on dealing with stress. I was a bit of a bitch here. I did not learn the lesson I needed to learn over here when I went to that course. So I'm going to have to take that class again. So I very much look at incarnation like a syllabus that I have created for myself while I was home. I set up these objectives. I set up these learning lessons. I set up opportunities to learn those lessons. I set up the exams. I set up the catalyst moments that would essentially knock me back into the lane that I need to be going in to learn those lessons in case I get too far off of the path. So Edgar Cayce was someone who really talked about Earth as a learning ground. And he talked about souls incarnating to Earth to learn spiritual lessons, to work through karma, which I also call classes, and to evolve. Each time we come to Earth, we have a set of spiritual and karmic lessons that we are giving ourselves the opportunity to learn. Not a punishment, not forces outside of our control, very intentional lessons and opportunities. Edgar Cayce was someone that talked about this back in the 1930s, before World War II. He died right before World War II. And even then, he was talking about Earth as part of an evolutionary cycle for humanity. So the bigger reason, if you look at souls coming to class individually, to improve ourselves, to raise our energy level, to give back. We can incarnate to give other people opportunities to learn. And you'll definitely see that with a lot of children that pass early, is their souls have agreed to come down and provide opportunities for other souls to learn, truly selfless existences. The bigger reason for all of our souls being able to come here to Earth, and I do talk about her as an individual soul entity who has agreed to provide this playground for us, is so that souls in mass could shift the energy into a new age. So if you think about souls coming in each time for classes, we're starting out at the 101 classes, we're Stone Age, Middle Age, Dark Ages, learning to survive, learning how to work together, learning how to work with Earth. And then each time evolution of humanity moves, we're given the opportunity to learn more and more important lessons, more painful lessons often, but graduate level classes. If you think about the level of shenanigans we're going through now versus the level of shenanigans that were happening even 100 years ago, the opportunities for self-exploration, for self-growth, for soul growth are exponentially more powerful now because it's much more painful. So we have been shifting as a group of souls repeatedly throughout history, coming to the evolution of Earth, the evolution of the souls who have been coming to Earth as this graduate level course. So shifting into this new age is a big thing that a lot of spiritual people have talked about forever. Spirituality was called New Age for a very long time. My parents were hippies. they were considered a New Age type of generations, but I think that had a lot more to do with the drugs and the music than the spiritual beliefs and consciousness. But that shift into the new age was something that Edgar Cayce talked about a lot. And again, this was well outside of his religious beliefs. He talked about it as the fifth root race, or the spiritual age, referring to transitioning Earth to a new dimension of consciousness where souls could either remain on Earth to help with the transition to a higher consciousness or move on, allowing the evolution of their vibration to happen back home. So they wouldn't have to physically be here. He talked about it as a spiritual sorting or a soul exodus, allowing the souls who were ready and karmically aligned with this new age vibration, this fifth root energy, to remain here and support Earth through the transition and support other souls through the transition. Another thing that he'd like to talk about with this exodus of souls, so a large amount of souls leaving the Earth, we're not going to be replaced with the same numbers, but they're going to be replaced with a very specific type of soul. So a lot of people talk about sapphire souls or crystal souls, but the basic belief is souls that are coming in at this time or who are involved in the spiritual ascension at this time are souls who are who have done more energetic work and are aligned with a higher frequency, so that Earth, as it moves into this alignment, will meet them up there. It allows the transition to be easier for them. They're there to help ground and support in the energy of Earth as she moves up, and also awaken other souls that have agreed to stay here at this time. So one of the things that Edgar Cayce talked about was the souls of Atlantis and Lemuria being born back into physical form during this time. So he says that the souls, the Atlantean souls, are said to have reincarnated in modern times to aid Earth's current transition. This is something that almost goes without saying for me, because you see so many people interested in Lemuria, in Pleiadians, in Atlanteans, in starseeds, because these souls are here. I resonate with that myself. We are souls that were here during the higher energy of Earth's foundation. When Earth was founded in the energy, and I don't want to go too far off with that one. I can definitely talk about that more if people are interested. When it was formed, before it went into the karmic cycle, those souls that were there to help seed this new life, this new college session, have come back. They were already at a higher vibration. They did it. They saw it. They were aligned. And now they're back to say, okay, Earth is coming back around. It's done this beautiful karmic wheel. And the wheel of fortune is finally getting back up to the top. And those who were there at her beginning are coming back to help align the energy. That does not mean they come in here and don't have a human experience. We all still have the human experience. But the energy level and our understanding and our ability to process the energy and the shifting of the Earth's movements is more in line with where she's going. So some of the readings that he gave, and you can go onto his website, Edgar Cayce, or Advanced Research and Enlightenment out of Virginia Beach, and all of his readings are published, but I wanted to share a couple of them. There's this reading 5748-5, The Work of the World. And in this reading, he describes Earth as the cosmic system where souls move through spheres of development. Like I talked about, the 101 classes moving all the way up into the graduate classes, and then sometimes coming back as a teacher. So humanity has reached a turning point. Those not spiritually aligned will experience turmoil and possibly leave the planet. His actual reading is, for there are those who are being called, and there are those who will be removed, and there are those who will be changed, and there are those who will pass on to other spheres for their development. He was talking about them leaving Earth and being able to develop their energy back home. So while we look at this exodus of souls and all of these tragic events, and they are tragic events, it's your heart goes out to them, your energy goes out to them. But there is an intention behind it, a soul intention, a karmic intention, where those souls can now leave, go back home, and shift into a higher energy of development without staying here and physically doing this on Earth. Another one of the readings he talked about, to kind of clarify this, he says, those who do not heed the call of higher energy, shall be removed, not as a punishment, but as a natural law. Like attracts like. The earth will become unsuitable for those who reject the light. Our souls are light. Our souls are energy. They are higher vibrations. When we come down into the human form and agree to go through this karmic journey, we're given the opportunity to align with our natural energy, our soul energy, or to move away from it. We're given that opportunity over and over and over again. You're probably given that opportunity dozens of times a day to align with light or to move away from it. No one can judge another person's soul journey. I can't tell you if I can't look at another person's journey and say that was a fuck up. He came here, he did all this bad stuff, his soul is going to hell. I don't believe in that at all. I believe we have the opportunity to come down into these classes, and we have the opportunity to move along with the lesson plan or to deviate from it. If we deviate from it, we're going to have to come back and we're going to have to learn it again. But it's all aligned with our higher selves. What they learn in those lifetimes, what I've learned in this lifetime that was not aligned with light, were important things for me to learn as a soul. I don't hate myself for them. I don't regret any of them because my soul is continuing to grow. Those lessons, those mistakes, those times I deviated from the light are all being added up into who I am and what I am. So this karmic lessons, this planetary change, this returning of Atlanteans, it's all a part of this cosmic plan. The cosmic plan for our souls, for the transition of our souls, and for the evolution of Earth. They're happening simultaneously, which is one of the reasons that it feels so stressful. And one of the reasons you can't turn on the news without wanting to scream or cry. As the energy shifts and Earth stretches her limbs out, there are going to be a lot of things that no longer align with that energy, and they're going to have to go away. That can be souls. That can be soul energy, people whose souls aren't ready to make that frequency transition, and they will go away. There's going to be systems. There's going to be global phenomenon. There's going to be all sorts of changes, which we have already seen. But do not give into the fear that this is somehow a punishment for us. I said it on the last episode, and I will continue to say it because I think it's the most important thing for light workers to understand right now is we volunteered to come back and do this. Many of us do resonate with the Atlanteans and the Lemurians, but even if you don't, you agreed to be here. You are a badass. You are an incredibly powerful soul, and you have agreed to be here during these changes, to be here while the other souls leave. That's not saying you're better than those other souls, and it's not saying that they're worse. It's a different path. You have chosen to be here. We are volunteers. We raised our hand and said, all right, we are willing to be here during the climate changes, during the ecosystem changes, during the social and economic changes that are happening while the frequency weeds out anything that is no longer in alignment. So you should feel incredibly proud that you are here, that you are willing to do this. You should feel energized that you are powerful enough to help ground in the energy. Do not get distracted by the shiny object. It's not real. These events that are happening on Earth are happening because they are meant to. And the more things that come to light that are not aligned with the frequency of where we are going, of where we are now, the more chaotic it's going to feel. So each time one of these major events happen, of course, send out heart energy to all people that are involved, all souls are involved. But rejoice in the fact that Earth is doing exactly what she needs to be doing. And lend her your energy and your heart and your power. Atlanteans, Lemurians, star beings, they work with the planet's energy. They aid, they are partners, they are teammates with the Earth's energy. And that is what and who we are. So add your strength and your power into those events by just bringing your consciousness to them, just by thinking of them, by sending, like literally visualizing your heart opening up and enwrapping Russia and Ukraine, for example. And we will talk about that event on another day. Opening your heart and embracing all of the animals of Yellowstone that people have been talking about. Opening out your heart and thinking about all the people in LA who were affected by the fires. Add your energy and your heart to those, but do not despair. The earth is shifting. We are shifting. That is intentional. It is meant to be happening. And you should feel, I really should stop telling you how to feel. I am proud to be here. I am proud to be on this journey. And I am excited to see what comes next. So, hopefully that wasn't too preachy. I do get very excited when I talk about getting to stand in this energy and be a part of the transition, because it's like the show. We have been training our entire existences to get to the big leagues, and we're here, and it's the World Series. Really excited to see what happens next. And until next time, love and light.